that this director isn't a musician. It seems impossible. That he wasn't an animator. It seems impossible. That he wasn't a sound designer. It seems impossible. It seems like lightning in a bottle. But it's not, because his second film, Flow, is out right now and it's getting fantastic reviews. Away is a 2019 animated feature film by Gints Zilbalodis, and when I say it's by him, I'm not just telling you the director's name, it's literally by him. He made it himself on his computer at home over the course of years. He taught himself Maya, the professional animation software, to make it, and composed the music and sound design while teaching himself Apple Logic. He set up scenes in the computer, populated them with his characters, with a loose idea of where he was going, and found the movie while making it. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's the closest thing to a near perfect movie that I've seen in a long time, because it grips you and pulls you in from the first scene with its simplicity and its clear, compelling storytelling, and takes you on a hypnotic journey of undiluted emotional connection with the main character, and using clear visual language to create drama and conflict. And when I say visual, it's all told visually. There is no dialogue. Not a word in this film, but you never miss it, and you never need it. You are immediately immersed in the internal world of our hero, a young boy just trying to get home, and you practically become him by the end, emotionally. You know what's happening at all times, and the animation, while simple, is perfectly stylized for this story. It's 3D animation, but it's not really textured or shaded very much, so it just serves the story, only serves the story. It just conveys emotion without distraction or showiness. For instance, the film is constructed in 4 chapters, and in the first chapter, the boy enters a safe zone, trapped there by his pursuer, where he finds a motorbike. Why doesn't he just get on it and escape? Well, we realize he's doubting himself. It's not his bike, and he probably doesn't really know how to ride it very well. And while thinking about his next move, he's also learning to ride the motorcycle in just short bursts, as you would. And we know this through body language, through the animation. The storytelling is just, that good visually. Now here's the plot. A boy we see hangs in a tree by his parachute, and we don't know what happened to the airplane that he was in. He seems to be a sole survivor. Now a black, shimmering, unearthly creature, a giant, approaches him from the horizon and embraces the boy as he hangs there. What is it? Don't know, but it's not good. The boy escapes on foot, and the giant very casually follows him. Wherever the boy goes, the giant follows him. It's absolutely creepy. It's the stuff of nightmares, actually. But how do you escape a creature who doesn't seem mortal and follows you forever? And if it ever catches up, will put you in this deathly embrace. Well, he's got to figure out a way, because, you can't run and watch your back forever. And now, just with these elements, we've got stakes and we've got urgency. And some very smart people will tell you that those are the 2 biggest ingredients of a successful screenplay. Okay, the boy runs through this circular portal at the mouth of a wooded oasis. And the name of this first chapter is Forbidden Oasis. And the giant stops at the entrance and just waits for the boy. The giant can't enter for reasons that are not clear yet. Now here there are fruit trees and fresh water and lush plants and shade, and he could just stay here for a while. He could stay here forever, but he wouldn't really be living. He'd be just existing. He'd be a prisoner. And he's also surrounded by these strange objects rising everywhere from the ground. And I think they're meant to be some kind of headstones or grave markers telling us that many, many people have chosen to stay here safe rather than risk facing what lies beyond. You could see this as choosing a life of denial instead of dealing with some challenge that they're facing. It's a bit abstract, but in a wonderful way that also leaves you free to project your own interpretation onto it. Okay, he finds the motorbike, teaches himself to ride it, and he finds the remains of the owner, someone who possibly decided to wait the giant out, just stay in this gilded cage of sorts. And he meets now a little yellow bird who can't fly. Thus, he can't reach any of the fruit hanging in the trees around him, and he's starving to death. And the boy shares his food with the little yellow bird, and now he's seemingly got a timid little friend for life. He finds a map of the island that they're on, and it marks a path to the far side of the island through a series of these half-circle markers with what looks like ships and a civilization across the bay at the end. We start to wonder at this point as viewers if there's something about water that keeps the giant away, but it's still unclear. The little yellow bird longs to fly. It tries to follow a flock of white birds leaving the oasis, but the black giant catches it and absorbs the little yellow bird. And we see what happens when the giant is finally able to absorb a living being. It churns and it undulates and it draws the life from its victim. The boy thinks he has time to rescue it and runs into the black blob and rescues the little yellow bird who's almost dead, and he nurses his little friend back to health. Now, I think it's the next day. The moment comes when the boy decides to make a break for it. He packs up as much fruit as he can, tucks the little yellow bird into a pocket of his satchel, and plows through the portal. The giant begins to follow him again. The giant has all the time in the world. Now, the little yellow bird, I think, is important because it's, at least sometimes in the film, a mirror of what's happening internally with the boy. The bird wants to follow the flock of birds, but can't quite fly. The boy is submerging something. He's not able, in his own way, to fly again, whatever that would mean to him. And slowly we get hints as to what that might be about. After slowing the giant down for a while at a beautifully directed scene at a bridge, the boy has time to settle down for the night, finally slow down, and he dreams about the airplane crash and his parachuting to safety from the beginning of the film. And all around him in the sky as he's falling, we see the falling bodies of other passengers, we presume, and they all now look like the haunting figure, the black giant. And we realize the giant that's following him, it could be death, but it could also be guilt, survivor's guilt, or some other guilt-heavy emotion that's in effect split him apart. Maybe despair or his anxiety or depression. Whatever it is, it separated him from his people, just like the bird who can't fly. So we have this physical journey back to humanity across the island, and now we have this spiritual journey getting back to humanity. Now, the yellow bird does learn to fly in this segment. The white bird who's following them now helps the little yellow bird to learn to fly through essentially a show of friendship, a show of compassion. But even then, the little bird wants to stay with the boy and flies alongside him for basically the rest of the movie, with the exception of a couple of scenes. And now joined by the white bird, hoping to see the boy complete his journey. And it's all stemming from the boy's initial act of kindness. In this section, we get a much clearer sense that the black giant is something that originates in the boy himself. Part self-doubt, perhaps, part guilt, part despair, giving up of hope. And when the giant smothers you, you don't just fall over dead. We see that it just slowly drains you. You're almost complicit. You've given up. And this sort of poison, this despair becomes very real, not just to you, but to those around you, the people you care about and who care about you. And the thing that saves you, perhaps, is empathy. It's each other. It's a selfless act from someone else. It's pretty heady stuff that you can dig out of the story if you're inclined to, even though there's no dialogue. And it's just great. Okay, we get another strong hint in chapter 3 that the giant is afraid of or repelled by water, which makes emotional sense in a story like this. You know, you have vampires and holy water, and you have the Lady of the Lake with her purity and King Arthur. And it's just embedded in us that evil and pure water don't mix very well. And Zilbalodis achieves that understanding here with a single beautiful moment. Actually, one shot, noticed by the yellow bird, who discovers that the giant was not destroyed at the bridge, as we thought, and is now closing in on the boy again as we head into the final trek of the film. Okay, the boy finds the wreckage of the plane, the actual wreck that he was in, and for a moment it's inhabited by the spirits of those he left behind, and all of them now black spirits like the giant. It's more obvious now that the giant is an amalgam of all the boys' despair or guilt, and that it's been the same for everybody who's tangled with this giant. It's whatever is holding you down, whatever is disabling you from within, whatever, your personal poison is. Now, in the final chapter of the film, the boy saves a tortoise who's flipped on its back, another act of humanity or of empathy. And maybe it's an echo of the Voight-Kampff test from Blade Runner, if you remember that, the test that tells you if you're human or not. Will this boy be able to rejoin life? Will he be able to break this haunting, demoralizing despair that's following him, that's stealing his humanity? I don't want to ruin it. I want you to actually, stop what you're doing and go watch it. It's a beautiful internal journey externalized through this character until the very last images, where we finally see not the specters of lost souls, but now real human beings at the end, the first other people to appear in the film. Some of them will be automatons, and some will be empathetic, just like in life. But that's his tribe, the boy's human tribe, that he needs to find some way to rejoin. And we're left with an open question. If this boy is ready and able to return to society, to his human peers. And there's a lot of water baptismal imagery here too, but it's also a lot of fun to decipher. But I do think when the ice breaks in the end, and the boy is at a crisis point and needs to go forward now or get swallowed up, that it's, the ice in his heart. He's been alone long enough. Whatever self-love he still has, the little yellow bird perhaps, is either going to fly away in the end or stay here with him and die. And I love that tension with the little yellow bird and now the white bird, its own companion, always calling it back to the wild, away from this journey. There's something there too. Everything white in the film seems like nature somehow. It's the wild. The Werner Herzog wild, if you know what I mean. The white fox-like creature at the bridge that tries to eat the little yellow bird is just an opportunist, an opportunistic hunter. He's totally blind to the internal struggle, the spiritual struggle playing out around it. And the white birds, they're all together, but they're kind of like a hive mind. They act as one, and there's no unique spark to any one of them except for the one that befriends our little yellow bird. And when one dies, they all die. Only that one breaks off to check out our friend and swoops in to help him when it's falling at the bridge, about to die. That's empathy. The film is about empathy and about connection, and so well directed that not only do you get to decide the ending for yourself, but you're almost required to, because you are this boy by the end. The film is about you. And, all the great ones aren't they? When the boy is washed clean at the end and looks like he's made it, he seems to smile at the yellow bird. And that's the first emotion that he shows in the film at all. Something has clicked back on inside him. And we realize not only is the physical journey accomplished, the interior emotional one is too. Because he's feeling again. He's human again. And we all need those moments in life. I was smiling right alongside of him, and that's when I realized that I just experienced something really special with this film. And I hope you'll get a chance to experience it too. And the music, unbelievable. That this director isn't a musician, it seems impossible. That he wasn't an animator, it seems impossible. That he wasn't a sound designer, I was in awe, transfixed by the soundscapes alone by the end of the film. It seems impossible. It seems like lightning in a bottle. But it's not, because his second film, Flow, is out right now, and it's getting fantastic reviews. And people are starting to sit up and notice this director, who might just become an important figure in film. And for my money, kind of already is. Now, he could stop right now, for all I'm concerned, but I hope he doesn't. He made this movie on his laptop. You won't think about that for more than 5 minutes, I promise you. It lives in that emotional world the end of After Sun lives in. It bypasses the frontal lobe of your brain and puts you into a sort of lucid dream. A different type of lucid dream than After Sun, but that's how it operates. I was thinking about the title, and it's a Latvian movie. The director is Latvian, and so who knows how closely this English title, Away, matches the original intention, but in English, it's called Away. The main character has been away from his people, his tribe, and now must find a way back, a path, back from whatever struggles made him detached or alienated, a way back to his humanity. And that way seems to be about empathy, about love, or at times basic decency or goodness, things that you don't necessarily need in the wild. But if you have them, now you have a recipe for community. I don't want to ruin it for you. I really want you to just go watch it. It's free on Prime right now. It's called Away. It's by Gints Zilbalodis. And I hope you'll watch it, and I hope you'll share your thoughts. If maybe you have another point of view on the symbolism in this film, and share it in the comments below. Okay, until next time, we'll see you. Guys, thank you for tuning in this year. Thank you to all our new subscribers. It's really been a blast seeing the channel grow a lot more this year than it has in previous times. Welcome to everybody. If you want to support the channel is not monetized yet, you can do that at Buy Me a Coffee. I'll put a link below or next to me somewhere here, and you can do that for $3. You can support the channel. You don't have to. I'm not expecting it. Very few people do. It's wonderful when they do. It's fine when they don't. Welcome, everyone. Happy 2025. If this is the last video, it may be, and we'll see you in the new year.